Hello, and thank you for joining us on this July midsummer day for our July webinar. So we'll be talking about automation and how to submit jobs automatically into FileCatalyst Workflow without any human interaction. So let me just tell you, my name is John Tkachevsky. I'm the co-founder and the president of Unlimited Software Inc., the creators of FileCatalyst products. I'm also overseeing the creative and the technical vision of the FileCatalyst web products, so webmail and workflow. A lot of this stuff is also covered in our blogs. So check out our blog after the webinar. There's lots of good articles about very similar topics that we'll be talking today. So we'll just go very quickly what we're going to go over. We're going to explain why automating job submission workflow is needed. We're going to show you quick settings, what to change on FileCatalyst Workflow. We're going to set up then a real site and a task in HotFolder to connect to FileCatalyst Workflow, and we're going to fire it up so you can actually see how it works. And another feature that we've added recently in the last 6 months is also now you can upload into file areas as well with HotFolder. So I'll show you that as well. So if you're using FileCatalyst Workflow, you know it's great for submitting files or file ingest into a central location. FileCatalyst Workflow is so great for sending large files or large content files as emails. Instead of attaching a large email attachment, attaching a large file into email, you can use FileCatalyst Workflow to send files to send files to any recipient email, to any recipient with an email address. It's a great interface. The web interface is 90% of our end users probably see the web interface daily. But it does require human interaction. That means someone has to, open up the web browser, select the file, enter some form data information, and click on upload. With HotFolder, none of this is needed. All of this can be scheduled. So, for example, if you have an automated process, let's say a transcoder, as soon as the transcoder is done, you could fire up a FileCatalyst Workflow job and send these files to any recipient with an email address, for example, or you could have it submitted to a central location for processing. Another nice part with HotFolder is that you can create basically just a network drive or a network folder where simply the user just have to drag and drop files into, and this will automatically initiate the whole job creation process and uploading files to FileCatalyst Workflow. When you're starting to work with very large files, I would say somewhere in the range of 2 to 3 gigs, the web-based components can certainly take this type of work, but we're ultimately working with a web browser, which are not always very stable. They can crash. A user could open another tab, go to a website that loads a humongous web page, and crash the entire browser. In that case, the transfer will, of course, if there was a file transfer going to FileCatalyst Workflow, it will die. If you're using an external HotFolder process, then sending these really large files or file transfers that are maybe the files are not large, it's just the connection is slow and unreliable, then you can use HotFolder, and this is an external process that is not dependent on the web browser. So you can handle much larger files and longer file uploads. For what we usually recommend to our clients, if a transfer is about 2 or 3 hours, not more than that, web browser is probably more than fine. If the file transfers are starting to go into that 2-3 hours or more range, then we would recommend to switching those users perhaps to a HotFolder. And as I mentioned, there's the ability to now you can also transfer to file areas. So every user has their own file area, and there's also a group folder if there's a number of users want to share some files on the web folder. They can use HotFolder to upload files directly into the appropriate file area. So Just to, I'm just going to switch right over here to my web browser. And I'm logged in here to one of our demo servers at FileCatalyst. So I'm just going to log in here as super administrator, and I'm going to show you the two things you have to check if you want to try this on your own. First of all, you got to make sure that your license on the About page allows HotFolder submission. So over here you can see that the HotFolder is enabled. So this license allows me, if you don't see that HotFolder in your license type, please contact your FileCatalyst rep to make sure you get the correct license to do that. Second of all, when you create a user in FileCatalyst Workflow, that user must be marked as they are allowed to send files via FileCatalyst HotFolder. So here's my account. I just want to make sure that allow job submission through HotFolder and Outlook plugin, Outlook API and mobile is checked. If it is not checked, things will not work. You will get an error message, but you know, it just will prevent you from looking up how to enable this. So this is in every user. Every user has this in their has this option in their profile. So that's pretty much all what you have to do in FileCatalyst Workflow. In the FileCatalyst HotFolder, there are a few more things. So FileCatalyst HotFolder is really the automation client that is used to schedule and automate file transfers in FileCatalyst. And one of the functionalities, you can create a task which can directly talk with FileCatalyst Workflow. So I'll show you this right now. So I have my HotFolder already running here, and I'm just going to click on, right now my HotFolder doesn't have anything, has basically just one HotFolder created where I have some of my content, and I don't have anything in my scheduler. So I'm going to just click on New now. I'm going to call this site Files to FC Web. Then the site type, that's important. You got to set that to FileCatalyst Web. And as soon as you set that, you'll notice that here the host will change. It will actually show now HTTP, or if you're running HTTPS, you might have to add an S here. In this case, this is a demo server, so we're not running HTTPS. So what you need to enter here is really just look up what you're connecting to your FileCatalyst Web. In this case here, I'm connecting as fcweb filecatalyst.com/workflow. So basically everything up to the JSP you will need. That's the URL for the service. So if you notice here, if I remove all of this and click workflow, it will just add the JSP log on the JSP. But really, this is all what you need to let HotFolder know where your FileCatalyst Workflow instance resides. So of course, if this was HTTPS, I would have to add an S. If I was running on a different port, I would have to, for example, put something like this, :8080 here. In my case, I'm not running any ports. I'm running everything by default, and I'm not using HTTPS, so this is what I'll be using. Username, it will be just the user I just edited before, and my password. And this will create my site. So now I have a new site that is actually connecting to FileCatalyst Web. It actually shows you here on the list. And that's my first step. Now the second step here will be to create a task that is using that site. So once again, I just go over here, I click on New, and I'll give this uploads to workflow. So you can call this task whatever you want. You got to give it a site name. So once again, make sure you select the site that points to FC Web. If you select the site that's just pointing to just a direct server, then you will not see some of the options I'm going to show you here. And the rest I'm just going to leave defaults. I'm not going to change anything else at this point. And I'm going to hit unfinish. So now you're going to get a little message here saying that we just created a FileCatalyst Web task. And in order to submit jobs to web, we have to go into the FileCatalyst Web Options tab. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go into this. I can edit the task now. And now what I'll see here is there's going to be a new tab here that's going to appear called FC Web. And this is the task that actually gives me the options to select which order form, fill out my fields, and so on. So in this case here, all I want to do is just submit files with my default configuration for my user. So I'll just select default. Here so you can see my file area. I'll get into this in a minute, but I'll just say here are the files. Click on apply, and I created my task. So now the task is created to start manually. Normally you would create the task that lets you run every 5 minutes or once a day to send the files. What I'm going to do here with this task now is I'm just going to go into my hot folder here, very quickly browse it, and show you what's in here. So I basically have here 4 files, a couple of webinar things, and a couple of images. So now what at this point I can do, I'm just going to fire up this task. And this is the task running. You can see the transfers are happening, and everything looks very similar to what you've seen, what you're accustomed with Direct. But the first line here in the log, you'll see now create a job with ID 2114. So what happened is actually the hot folder now created a record of that transfer and workflow, and assigned it a job ID. And the rest is pretty much the same as you would seen with Direct. The only thing at the end of the transfer, you'll see that it's finalizing the job. So it created the job, uploaded the files with it, filled out the order form with the options I gave it, and then finalized the job. So this job now, if I log back in here as administrator, here's my job 2114. If I click on it, I can see the files I was sending. You can see that the XML files got uploaded, PDF as well, and you can see here that this was done with an FC HotFolder client, which shows you here as well. And I have a full log. So in this way, it's like submitting jobs or content submission via the web, but you're doing everything in a hot folder, type of an application where everything is automated. So so here's just a little quick slide. Execute the task as I noticed. Here we can see here also on my screen, finalizing job ID. I did that job right before I did this one. So you can see what it did. And now, so the second option, what you can do is you can also upload into file areas using FileCatalyst HotFolder. And here's how you would do that. Let me just get into here. So now I'm going to edit my task. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go into my FC Web folder, FC Web tab, and at this point here, remember I pressed this drop down before. I can select which order form or file area I'm uploading to. So in this case here, I'm going to select my file area, and because that's what I have on the system assigned. And now if I do a transfer, there will be no job will be created, but the files rather will be uploaded directly into the file area. So here's how we can check that. I'm going to log in as the user to the web interface. I'm going to hit file area. So here are the files, and I'm basically going to be putting files into this folder right here. So I can just hit on upload and execute, and now files will be going in here. Not necessarily a job will be created, but the files will be uploaded straight to my file area. The same process applies to uploading group files, group folders, or personal file areas, anything that has to do with just a second, with this menu here, the file area menu. So just before I conclude and go into questions, just want to remind you some of our events where we're going to be in the next month or so. We'll be at IDC in September 13th. We'll have a user forum as well in New York City on October 1st. We're doing Interop New York on October 2nd, Broadcast India on October 9th, and IP Expo October 16th. So fairly busy travel schedule for us here at FileCatalyst. A lot of good events coming up, and we also hope to see you at the next webinar. So if I have any questions, I'm going to jump into questions here. Let me just see if there's anything. I don't see any questions at this point, so we're going to wrap things up. Thank you very much for attending, and hopefully we can see you maybe at one of our events. Thank you.